Every man can find pleasure anywhere, but when he finds a woman who knows how to make him feel deeply connected, seen and valued, not just in bed, but in who he is, that's when everything changes. Want to know the one thing that makes a man never want to leave? It's not what you think, and it starts where most people stop paying attention. When people talk about intimacy, they often focus on the physical, the positions, the techniques, or the duration. But what most don't realize is that for a man to truly connect, stay loyal, and emotionally bond with a woman, the experience has to go far beyond what happens physically. It's not just about what she does in bed. It's about how she makes him feel while he's there. A woman who creates emotional safety and intimacy during those private moments taps into something deeper than lust. She taps into the part of him that wants to stay. Emotional safety is not a vague or fluffy concept. It's very real and it's powerful. It's that feeling a man gets when he doesn't have to put on a mask, when he's not being judged, compared, or criticized. It's when he feels like he can be himself, not just the strong or masculine version of himself, but also the vulnerable, unsure, or even insecure side. In bed, this shows up in small but meaningful ways. It's in the way a woman reacts when he opens up about something. It's in how she looks at him, not with expectations or demands, but with genuine interest and warmth. It's in how she touches him, not just to arouse him, but to reassure him that he is accepted and appreciated. Many men walk through the world feeling like they have to perform all the time, to be providers, to be protectors, to be tough. That pressure doesn't just go away when the bedroom door closes. In fact, for many, it intensifies. They fear not measuring up. They worry about not satisfying their partner. But when a woman shows him that she's there not to judge, but to experience something real together, that changes everything. Suddenly, the bedroom isn't just a place for sex. It becomes a place for connection. And here's the secret. Emotional connection enhances the physical experience. It magnifies it. A kiss feels different when it's not just lips touching, but hearts syncing. The chemistry deepens when both partners feel seen and accepted. A man is far more likely to crave that kind of intimacy again and again, not because he's addicted to her body, but because he's drawn to the way she makes him feel like he's enough. It's also about communication. When a woman feels safe enough to speak her desires or to listen to his without shame or sarcasm, it sets the tone for mutual respect. Emotional connection in bed isn't silent. It's filled with eye contact, little words of encouragement, laughter, and mutual understanding. It's a shared moment where both people feel like they're not alone in their thoughts or needs. That's rare and it's unforgettable. Men will never leave a woman who makes them feel like the best version of themselves when they're at their most vulnerable. That's what intimacy really is. It's not just about seduction, it's about surrender. And when a man finds that kind of emotional sanctuary in a woman, he doesn't just want her body, he wants her soul, he wants her presence, and he wants her in his life, not just for the night, but for the long haul. Because in a world that constantly demands performance, finding someone who offers peace is the ultimate treasure. Confidence is one of the most magnetic traits a woman can bring into the bedroom. It has nothing to do with being perfect, looking like a model, or performing like someone in a movie. Confidence is an energy. It's a feeling that radiates from someone who knows her worth, feels good in her own skin, and isn't trying to prove anything to anyone. When a woman steps into intimacy with that kind of presence, it changes the entire dynamic. The room feels different, the connection becomes deeper, and the man she's with notices on a level he may not even be able to explain. Many women worry about how they look during sex. They wonder if their stomach is flat enough, if their hair is in place, if their body is doing what it should, but those worries often lead to self-consciousness, and self-consciousness creates distance. It pulls her out of the moment, making it harder for her to connect, to enjoy, and to let go. What most men actually want isn't a woman who's flawless, it's a woman who is fully there. A woman who's not apologizing for her body, not hesitating to be touched, not shrinking into herself when the lights are on. Confidence gives her permission to show up completely, and that's incredibly attractive. When a woman is confident, she doesn't wait for a man to tell her she's sexy. She knows she is in her own way. She moves with intention. She touches with curiosity. She makes eye contact that says, "I belong here." That alone creates a spark that no technique ever could. Confidence isn't loud unless it wants to be. It doesn't mean being dominant or taking over, unless that's her natural energy. It just means being real, being relaxed in her own body. It means enjoying herself, allowing herself to feel pleasure and not holding back because of fear or shame. Men can feel that energy instantly. It changes the way they interact. They stop worrying about whether they're impressing her and start enjoying the moment too. When a woman is confident, she creates a space where the man can also feel safe to be himself. It's not about ego, it's about freedom. She isn't there to be judged, and neither is he. The bedroom becomes a playground instead of a performance. That's when intimacy becomes unforgettable. Confidence also means speaking up, saying what she likes, asking for what she wants. Not with arrogance or entitlement, but with clarity. A confident woman doesn't sit in silence hoping he'll guess what makes her feel good. She's a partner in the experience, and that makes it better for both of them. It removes the guessing game and replaces it with trust and communication. That kind of openness isn't just sexy, it's mature. It shows that she values herself and the connection she's building. There's also a layer of emotional strength in confidence. It's knowing that she doesn't need to be perfect to be desirable. It's the ability to laugh at awkward moments, to embrace imperfections, to keep eye contact even when things get real and raw. Confidence is what allows intimacy to go beyond the physical, because once both people feel emotionally free, the physical part becomes an expression of something deeper. Men don't forget women who bring that kind of energy. It's not about a performance, it's about presence. And when a woman owns who she is in that moment, with all her strengths and imperfections, she leaves a lasting impression. Not because she tried to be someone else, but because she was unapologetically herself. Being present and engaged in the moment is one of the most powerful things a woman can do in bed, yet it's often overlooked. In a world full of distractions, phones, thoughts about tomorrow, self-judgment, or worrying about how things are going, true presence becomes rare. But when a woman is fully there, emotionally and mentally, during an intimate moment, it creates a connection that can't be faked. A man feels it. He may not know how to describe it, but he knows when a woman is just going through the motions and when she's actually with him. Presence isn't about saying the right thing or performing in some perfect way. It's about tuning into what's happening right now. It's in the way she looks at him, not with eyes that are distracted or thinking ahead, but with eyes that are seeing him in that moment. It's in her breath, her touch, the subtle ways she reacts to his energy. Presence means she's listening, not just to his words, but to his body language, his energy, his unspoken signals. It turns intimacy into a conversation rather than a routine. When a woman is mentally present, her body language shifts. She moves more naturally. She responds to how she feels, not to what she thinks she's supposed to do. That authenticity is magnetic. A man senses that he's not being judged or evaluated, he's being experienced. That alone creates an atmosphere of safety and excitement. It lets him open up. He doesn't have to be perfect either, because he feels like she's there to connect, not to critique. Being engaged also means showing genuine enthusiasm. It's not about faking reactions or exaggerating pleasure. It's about being honest in how she responds to the experience. A soft smile, a spontaneous laugh, a subtle sound of pleasure. These little things send a powerful message. I'm here, I'm into this, and I'm into you. That level of emotional honesty is intoxicating. It makes the man feel desired, not for what he's doing, but for who he is. Distraction, on the other hand, can kill intimacy quickly. If a woman is in her head, worrying about how she looks, or thinking about her to-do list, her energy becomes disconnected. Even if her body is physically there, her mind isn't, and people can sense that gap. It's like having a conversation with someone who keeps checking their phone. You may be saying all the right words, but it doesn't feel like you're being heard. The same is true in bed. True engagement requires presence, and presence is what builds trust, connection, and unforgettable chemistry. Another important piece of engagement is responsiveness. When she reacts, when she leans in to what feels good or gently guides what doesn't, shows that she's invested in the experience. She's not passive, she's participating. That doesn't mean taking control, unless that's what feels natural. It means being attuned, being expressive, letting her partner know through words or through energy that she's not just having the moment, she's feeling the moment. That makes everything more intense and more real. Men want to feel like the moment matters, that it's not just something happening on the surface, but something that's impacting her emotionally. When she's fully present, he feels chosen, he feels seen, and he feels important. That emotional depth turns physical intimacy into something memorable, because it's not just a shared act, it's a shared presence. And in today's world, that kind of connection is rare and deeply desired. Curiosity and playfulness in bed create an environment where connection can thrive. When a woman brings a spirit of exploration, lightness, and openness into the bedroom, it breaks the pressure of performance and replaces it with shared experience. This isn't about being wild or constantly trying new things. It's about creating a space where both people feel safe to be themselves, to try, to laugh, to fail, and to enjoy. It's the difference between intimacy feeling like a test and intimacy feeling like a journey you're both on together. Curiosity means she's interested not just in the act itself, but in him, in what he likes, how he feels, how his body responds. It's about asking questions, paying attention, and showing genuine desire to understand him on a deeper level. This interest doesn't have to be verbal. It can be shown in subtle ways: how she watches his reactions, how she tries something different, how she listens not just with her ears, but with her presence. When a man feels that a woman is curious about him, not just focused on how she's being perceived, it makes him feel valued and seen. Playfulness brings another layer of connection. It softens the intensity and makes room for fun, for joy, and for mistakes. A playful moment in bed, a smile, a laugh, a teasing touch can make the experience feel more natural and emotionally safe. It gives both people permission to let go of their internal pressure to be perfect. Sometimes the sexiest moments aren't the most polished, they're the most real. A giggle when something goes wrong, a shared smirk, a whisper that breaks the tension. All these moments build intimacy far more deeply than a flawless performance ever could. When a woman isn't afraid to explore, to experiment, or to even be a little silly, it creates a space where emotional walls come down. Men often feel the need to be in control or to deliver a certain experience, but when their partner is equally invested in creating something together, it changes everything. The responsibility isn't one-sided. It becomes a shared playground of trust and discovery. That energy is unforgettable. It lingers long after the moment ends. Curiosity and playfulness also encourage communication. They make it easier to talk about what feels good, what doesn't, and what could be fun to try next time. These conversations don't have to be heavy or serious. They can be light, flirty, and full of openness. When a woman shows that she's not just open to his ideas but excited to hear them, it builds emotional safety. He doesn't have to hide his desires or fears. He can express them without worrying about judgment. This openness doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means creating a culture where saying no or adjusting something feels okay. Curiosity is about learning each other, not checking boxes. Playfulness is about creating moments of joy, not constant excitement. When a man sees that a woman can bring this kind of energy to their most vulnerable moments, he doesn't just enjoy the experience more, he starts to trust her on a deeper level. But trust is what keeps a man coming back. When sex isn't a chore or a performance, but something alive, fluid, and evolving, it becomes more than just physical. It becomes a space where both people feel free. Free to express, to connect, and to grow together. That kind of experience is rare, and when a man finds it, he knows he's found something he won't easily walk away from. Appreciation and affirmation are often overlooked in intimate relationships, especially when it comes to what men need. There's a common belief that men are supposed to be confident, self-assured, and emotionally independent. But the truth is, men crave to be seen and validated just like anyone else. In fact, many men walk through the world never hearing genuine words of affirmation. They carry the weight of being strong, providing, performing, and protecting. But rarely are they reminded that they're valued just for being themselves. So when a woman expresses appreciation during those deeply vulnerable moments in bed, it leaves a lasting impact. When a woman compliments a man, not just on his performance, but on his presence, his effort, or the way he makes her feel, it hits differently. She's not just saying, "You're good at this." She's saying, "I see you, I value you, I enjoy you." That kind of affirmation cuts through the noise of insecurity and creates emotional intimacy. It tells him that he doesn't have to be perfect to be appreciated. He just has to be real. And that's something every person, including every man, longs to feel. Appreciation can be communicated in small ways. A soft, "That felt amazing." A smile that says, "I love being close to you," or a whispered compliment about how he looks, smells, or moves. These gestures may seem simple, but they hold deep emotional power. They reinforce to a man that he's doing something right, not just physically, but emotionally. That kind of feedback makes him feel competent, connected, and confident. It encourages him to show up more fully, to express himself, and to continue deepening the relationship. Affirmation also means acknowledging his emotional efforts. If he opens up, tries something new, or checks in on her comfort and pleasure, affirming those actions builds trust. It says, "I noticed what you did, and I value it." This encourages even more openness because he knows he's not taking emotional risks alone, he's being supported in them. It creates a loop of emotional safety where both people feel empowered to be more vulnerable and more honest. Too often, men carry the burden of feeling like they are only as valuable as their last success in their careers, their bodies, or their performance in bed. But when a woman affirms him for who he is rather than what he does, it breaks that pressure. It creates a space where he can breathe, let go, and truly connect. And when that space is created during physical intimacy, it becomes a deeply emotional experience. He's no longer just having sex, he's being emotionally nourished through it. There's also something deeply attractive about a woman who's comfortable giving praise. It shows her own confidence. It shows that she's not holding back love or approval as a way to control the relationship, but that she's emotionally generous. She knows her words have power, and she uses them to build, not to manipulate. That kind of woman stands out. She becomes unforgettable, not because of how she looks or what she does, but because of how she makes a man feel in her presence. A man may not always be able to articulate it, but he remembers how he felt with her. He remembers the words that made him feel strong, the looks that made him feel desired, and the moments that reminded him that he mattered. That feeling of being appreciated, of being affirmed in a space where he's usually expected to be the one giving, those are the moments that build real, lasting connection. What happens after sex often reveals more about a relationship than what happens during it. While physical connection may draw two people together, emotional connection is what keeps them close. Emotional aftercare, the gestures, words, and presence shared in those quiet moments after intimacy, is what solidifies the bond and leaves a man feeling safe, valued, and deeply connected. It's not about doing something big or dramatic. It's about the subtle signals that say, "I'm still here with you. This wasn't just a physical act. It meant something. Aftercare can take many forms. It might be lying together in silence, holding each other without the rush to move on. It could be gentle conversation where both people can decompress and share how they feel. It could be soft touches, a hand on his chest, fingers intertwined, or a kiss on the forehead. These small, seemingly simple moments matter more than most people realize. They allow the nervous system to settle. They build emotional security, and they create a space where real intimacy can grow. For many men, the act of being physically vulnerable is deeply tied to emotions they rarely express. Even if they don't show it, sex can stir up complex feelings, uncertainty, self-doubt, or the need to feel accepted. When a woman offers care and connection afterward, it affirms that those feelings are safe to have. He doesn't have to immediately put his emotional armor back on. He can linger in the softness a little longer. That moment of emotional freedom is rare in a man's life, and it's powerful. A woman who understands the emotional weight of aftercare communicates without words that she respects and values the whole man, not just his physical side. She sees the emotional being behind the body. That kind of presence sticks with him. It makes the entire experience more than just physical pleasure. It turns it into emotional nourishment. He doesn't walk away feeling used or judged. He walks away feeling seen, grounded, and connected. Men, like women, want to feel wanted. They want to feel chosen, not just for their bodies, but for their spirit, their personality, their presence. Aftercare reinforces that feeling. When she stays close, listens, touches him with kindness, or even just holds space for quiet connection, he feels emotionally significant. He feels like he's not just a partner in sex, but a partner in something deeper. That experience leaves a lasting imprint on his memory. Sometimes, emotional aftercare is simply about not rushing the moment, not jumping out of bed to grab a phone or distract from the silence. It's the willingness to stay in that sacred space a little longer, to breathe together, to laugh about something small, to whisper something genuine. These are the details that form emotional glue. They create memories that feel real and human and deeply meaningful. There's also comfort in emotional consistency. When a woman offers emotional presence after intimacy, it builds trust. It says this connection is not conditional. It's not only about excitement or peak moments, it's about everything in between. That consistency builds emotional security over time, and it gives a man a reason to come back, not just for the pleasure, but for the peace. Many men don't have a place in their lives where they're allowed to fully relax, to feel cared for without having to earn it through performance. When they find a woman who offers that space, especially in the vulnerable moments that follow intimacy, it becomes more than just a relationship. It becomes a refuge. And that kind of connection doesn't just satisfy, it anchors. At the heart of everything we've explored, confidence, presence, curiosity, appreciation, emotional care, lies one truth. Men don't stay because of performance, perfection, or technique. They stay because of how a woman makes them feel. When a woman shows up in the bedroom with emotional intelligence, vulnerability, and a genuine desire to connect, she becomes unforgettable. It's not about doing something extraordinary. It's about being real, being engaged, and being deeply human. That's what touches a man beyond the surface. That's what creates chemistry he can't find anywhere else. And that's what makes him never want to leave.